All right, what I'm about to talk about is really nerdy and really complex, and so a lot of people like this might go over their heads. And believe you me, if I was listening to this, it'd probably go over my head like 40 minutes ago. Anyway, so it's for my informational security class. And basically, what I have to do is break an encryption. Um and so my idea is that or the encryption style is a cipher, a substitution cipher, which means that for all of your characters is a random, like one to one with the different characters. So like for A it could be C, for B it could be Z. um and so like in the thing it looks like gibberish, but if you know the cipher you can read the message by substituting each character for the correct character that it's associated with. Now, the character set that we're using has 77 characters, all capital letters, all lowercase letters, and a bunch of symbols. So the total number of permutations for that uh, character set would be 77 factorial. And 77 factorial, to put that into perspective, is more than the amount of grains on Earth. Like, that's a huge number. It's so big. Like you can't comprehend how big it is. Like it's just stupid big. Um, which means, and by the way, a permutation would be like every possible random like assortment, every possible arrangement of the character set. So, um, so what that means is you can't just you know randomly go through and be like, let's see, let's try this permutation, let's try this permutation, because if you tried every permutation, it would take you until the end of the heat death of the universe. Jesus comes back by that point. Like it's done. It's over. it it wouldn't work. So you have to find a smarter way to think about it. Now, the first thought is I want to find the words. Now, words are broken up in like sentences, right, with spaces, right? So in a sentence, you have all of these different spaces, and those will break up your word, you know? So if you have a phrase and you have all these words, the most common character might be the space, right? So, with that, my first thought is to see if I can just take whatever character appears the most and just assign it space to break up the words, right? Now, it might not be the most occurring character, but it might be the second, but it's definitely going to be up there, right? Because every word is going to have a different assortment of letters. And if you have 5 words and um, all of those have like different letters, right? Because they're different words, then there's going to be at least 4 spaces, though. So you would have to have a like E, I think, is the most common letter in the alphabet, but even that one, like in 5 word, for 5 random words chosen, or even in a normal sentence, it's like it's more likely that there will be the well, accounting for double letters and stuff, like there's a chance that there might be more E's than spaces. But anyway, we don't just try like the most occurring, you try the second occurring and whatnot. But anyway, the point is we need to break it up into words. And now, once we break them up into words, this is where we get more interesting. And so we start to look at for sequencing. So if you have, say, the word apple, that's APPLE, right? So say we don't know what those letters mean, though. It's just a random assortment of letters. But you can assign them numbers and count them in order to make a sequence, right? So it's 0 for A, then 1 for P. So 0, 1, 1, and then L or yeah, L would be 2, and then E would be 3. So then the sequence for apple would be 0, 1, 1, 2, 3. And there are actually a ton of words that follow that sequence. So you might say, like, aggro, AGGRO, also is a 0, 1, 1, 2, 3. And so what you can do is if you have characters that follow that sequence, right? And then you can have a list of words that also follow that sequence. And so what you want to do, right, is you have this collection of words. You want to find the biggest one, because the bigger a word, the less number of the longer a word, the less there are less words that follow the same sequence, right? So you find the biggest chunk of characters, and you grab it as sequence, and you see how many words you can match to that sequence, right? You'll just take one. And so then you'll put that one in. So like, say it was a characters that followed the 0, 1, 1, 2, 3. Then we put in apple. Then whatever characters elsewhere in the text, you can now replace the same ones. So for, like, if it was XCCDP, then you know all of those X's, and then you're gonna say, okay, let's pretend that this might be apple. So we'll take all of our X's and replace them with A's. And I don't remember what the other letters were, but like whatever the other letters were that I just said, replace them with the relative words in apple. And so now you go to the next word and say the next word is follows like a pattern, like 1, 2, 3, 4, right? It's just 4 different characters all in a row, 1, 2, 3, 4, or 0, 1, 2, 3. However, and so then you're looking at it, but some of those characters might be the same characters. So like, say, the third character is an A. So now we know that it's actually. So now we can check out of the list of words that follow that sequence, 0, 1, 2, 3, which one of those have an A in the third position. So we can then match all of the words that follow that sequence to that same pattern. So then we could say, oh, grab is a word that is 4 different letters long, 4 letters long, with an A in the third position. So now we have GRAB. And we can put those in with with all the others. And then you keep going. And you might just have a collection of random words. You might have some that never get matched. However, but this way it's a start. And this start allows you to slowly kind of build it out. Now, punctuation can mess this up. So like if there's an apostrophe and you're just looking for words, and you may not have words with apostrophes, right? So that may like screw you up. So you have to like take into account, is there punctuation in this? Is there a period at the end of sentences? So maybe at the end of the message you see that there's a character, you just say, let's just, for this run, pretend that that's a period. So there's all of these different things that you would need to consider, but this dramatically brings down the number of attempts that you need to make. And it might take some fiddling to figure it out. I haven't actually wrote the program to do this. And I'm making a program to do this. You could do this by hand. I don't want to, but you could do it by hand. But this is kind of the concept of what I'm doing. And I just thought it was interesting, so I wanted to share with you. You may not find it as interesting. But this allows you to decode messages. And this is actually really, really cool. Cryptography is actually very, very cool. Yeah. So cool. That's what I've been up to. Literally, it is, what time is it? It's 11 o'clock. I've been up since about 8:30 thinking about this. Like, this is all I've been thinking about. I was thinking about it in bed while I was, like, when I woke up, and I was just like, I gotta get up to, like, work this out. And I, like, it was rough at first, because I was like, well, I mean, how many permutations? Now let's just see, like, no, don't do that. It's bad. But yeah, so there we go.